Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about something we literally do all day, every day, but probably never think about: how our devices actually talk to each other. We're going to break down the basic rules of this digital conversation, from a simple broadcast all the way to a full-on dialogue. So let's just start with something I'm pretty sure we've all done. You're watching a show, something happens, and you yell at the screen. And, well, nothing happens, right? But why? It's not just because your TV doesn't have ears. It's because that TV is locked in a one-way conversation. And honestly, if you get that one simple idea, you're on your way to understanding everything we're about to cover. So the technical name for all of this is modes of communication. And it sounds kind of fancy, but it's really just about which way the data is flowing between two gadgets. There are three main ways this can go down, and we're going to look at each one, starting with the most basic. All right, first up, let's talk about the one-way street of data. This is the simplest form of communication out there, and it's called simplex mode. The definition is pretty much right there in the name. Simplex is a communication mode where data only flows in one direction, period. Kind of like a loudspeaker at a stadium, the announcements go out, but there's no way for the crowd to talk back through it. And you'd be surprised how much simplex is still around us. You've got the sender, say a radio station or even your computer keyboard, and it only ever sends information. Then you've got the receiver, your radio or your computer, which only ever receives it. This means there's absolutely no way for the receiver to send back any kind of feedback, not even a simple, "Hey, I got the message." It is a true monologue. There is no dialogue here. So you can see there's a pretty clear trade-off here. The big plus, simplex is super simple and cheap to set up. But the huge downside is that total lack of feedback. If the signal gets messed up or just doesn't arrive, the sender has no idea. There's just no way to fix any errors on the fly. Okay, but what if you need to talk back? Well, that brings us to the next step in the evolution of this digital conversation. This next mode is more like a two-way street. But there's a catch. You have to take turns. And this is called half duplex mode. The key phrase to remember here is not at the same time. Both devices can send and receive information, which is great, but they have to wait for the other one to finish. The absolute classic example, a walkie-talkie. You push a button to talk, and then you have to let it go to listen. You can't do both at once. Yep, walkie-talkies are the perfect real-world example. You can send your message and you can get a message back, which is already a massive leap forward from simplex. But if you and your buddy both try to talk at the same time, all you get is noise. You have to follow the rules of the road. You talk, then you listen. Over. And this whole process creates this built-in, noticeable delay. So device number one sends its data. Device number two has to just sit there and listen until it's done. Then it can say, okay, got it, and maybe send its own message back. But now device number one has to wait. It's a very polite conversation, but boy, is it slow. So once again, there's a trade-off. It's a huge improvement on simplex, no doubt, because you can get that all-important confirmation that your message was received. But the big drawback is that delay. All that time spent waiting your turn just makes it way less efficient than a real, natural conversation. So how do we get rid of that waiting game? Well, we need to open up all the lanes of traffic and turn that two-way street into a full-blown superhighway. And that brings us to the final and most advanced mode, the free-flowing dialogue of full duplex communication. Full duplex is basically the end goal of modern communication. It's what allows data to flow in both directions at the exact same time. It's not about taking turns anymore. It's about having a real back and forth, simultaneous conversation, just like we do in real life. And you are using this constantly. A phone call is the perfect example. You can talk while the other person is talking. You can even interrupt each other. Same thing goes for video calls and very likely the Ethernet connection that's bringing you this right now. It's all about getting the highest possible efficiency and speed. Now, the advantages here are huge: lightning-fast communication, zero waiting time. But all that power, well, it comes at a price. The tech that you need to send and receive data at the same time without it all turning into a jumbled mess, that's a lot more complex. And because of that, it's more expensive to build. Okay, so we've looked at the one-way street, the turn-taking conversation, and the superhighway dialogue. Now let's just put them all right next to each other to really lock in the differences. So here's the whole thing in a nutshell. You've got simplex, it's one way, like your TV. Then half duplex, it's two-way, but you gotta take turns, like a walkie-talkie. And finally, full duplex, two-way, at the same time, just like a phone call. We've basically gone from a shout to a conversation. And when you look at it in terms of just pure efficiency, the jump is pretty dramatic. Simplex is way down there at the bottom. Half duplex is a solid step up, right in the middle. But full duplex is where you get the highest possible efficiency, and that is why it drives so much of our modern world. So why does any of this actually matter? Well, because the mode of communication a device uses isn't just some random technical detail. It actually defines the entire nature of how we interact with our tech and what that tech is even capable of doing. I think this quote really nails it. We've gone on this journey from a simple broadcast to a really complex conversation. And choosing between simplex, half duplex, or full duplex is all about picking the right kind of conversation for the job at hand. Whether that's broadcasting a show to millions of people or having a private video call with one person. Which kind of leaves us with a pretty interesting question to chew on. In a world that is so completely built around the instant, two-way chat of full duplex, is there even a place anymore for the good old-fashioned one-way street of simplex? Or is it just a relic of the past? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.